Good morning. Welcome to Saturday of week 6, which is a pretty big one because this means that we are edging towards the beta delivery of Tetramino, which will be tomorrow. So the last minute bits and pieces I'm doing is all about tutorial capture. We have a tutorial system that plays a series of GIFs at opportune moments within the game. Well, we've got most of that system. Currently, I'm needing to fill out the content. So what that involves is a custom scene like this one, where we can see there's nothing really going on, except for some blocks and stuff floating about, because I was just recording the rotation tutorial content. So in a GIF, that would literally just look like me in here rotating a tile. There'll be a little caption saying, "You're rotating a tile, use this button." Easy peasy. In presentation, that would then look like this, which you can't see. It would then look like this. So when you perform as the player some task that then needs tutorialization, at the start of the next run, you would see this window pop up and you would have a GIF playing of some tutorial content. This particular one is the jump GIF. It would obviously have a jump heading and then a description of some sort saying press A to jump, or press A or spacebar to jump. So that's the concept. Further to that, in the main menu, you would then in here be able to kind of cycle through all the various tutorial content that you've unlocked. So this is the coin one, for example, showing, you can pick up coins and they give score. As a bit of a little bible of all the various things you can do. So this is the movement one, this is the jump one. Obviously without their title and description, they're a little bit lost at sea, but they will have that. The pipeline to do this is pretty straightforward. Obviously I set up a scene where I want to record the content. So the idea of the scene is to keep it pretty focused, so that this is what it looks like as standard. If you ignore the little achievement pop-up, that programmatically goes away when you hit play. This is just our cleanest possible scene with a background and a top and a bottom, and that's it. And then the focus is just on that whatever thing we're capturing. That gets recorded with OBS. By recording that with OBS, it gets added to our media pool in here. This is DaVinci Resolve. It gets added to our media pool. Come across into edit, you choose whatever it is you're making. So we're making the dive tutorial. That's now just the dive raw footage added to the timeline. Come across into deliver, where we deliver that or render it out as a series of PNGs. So we're cutting those down in resolution massively to save some file size. They're only 640 by 360 because they're only quite small on the screen. So we're cutting back the resolution. We're running at 24 frames a second, so it's going to capture 24 PNGs per second with a very high compression level, because the crunch really doesn't matter for us in this specific instance. That outputs them into this folder where they get recorded as raw files. So this is all the raw, just little videos. So here's the spawner blocked one, showing the spawner being blocked. This in here is the dive one, so this is showing the dive functionality of the tiles. So that's the raw. When we output those, it outputs them as frames. So this will give us, for example, for the coin one, all of these frames, and then we can come through these frames and we can hand pick some amount of frames to be used in the video content. Once we have those final frames, here's the coin final frames. Once we have those final frames, we can add them in here to our tutorial. It's just up here actually. To our tutorial data. So we've got these scriptable objects that house some amount of frames. So here's the jump one, housing these frames in an array. We then have tutorial groups. So these groups are groups of tutorials. So at the bottom level, there's tutorial data that has a title, a description, and all the frames. That tutorial data gets grouped with several other tutorial datas. So that might be a whole bunch of player movement stuff that you want to play in a batch at the start. They get grouped together into a tutorial group, and then those tutorial groups go into our database. So this is the tutorial database of all the tutorial groups that consist of tutorial datas. And then the pop-up window will load in specific groups of tutorial footage and play those to the user. There's a little bit more to the system because it also controls unlocking of capabilities. So for example, when you very first boot the game, your send button for the tiles might be disabled. That might be enabled by running to 400 meters or 500 meters or some such behavior in the game. And then when that ability is unlocked is when you would then have that button open up on the controller and would receive the GIF saying, hey, here's how to use that particular capability. And that's kind of how we're controlling, like rolling the capabilities out at some rate so that the complexity of the control scheme scales at the same speed of the complexity of the game. So it's just all about that onboarding, which obviously I want to get into the beta build. So I am recording a lot of footage of very simple little things to get in there because it's going to be all really helpful and useful for the player. And that will be most of the day, I think. That's the task is quite large, so I will go onward.